Welcome, welcome, welcome to the State of Civility Youth Summit, folks. I'm Professor Vernet A. Joseph, and I'm super excited to be talking with you today. And I have on the line, as always, my good friend, Sir Clyde Rivers. He's the Global World Civility Ambassador. And today we are endeavoring to communicate to our youth. We want to dialogue about the future and the voice of our global youth. We want to bring to you the leaders of the world who are pushing our youth forward. And why are we doing this? Because civility is meant to be in action. How are you doing today, Sir Clyde Rivers?
Man, I am fantastic, Professor Vernet, and I'm so encouraged because we have young people and our leaders that are in the process right now of crafting their future.
Yes.
How can we really build a future without having the voice of the ones that are going to live in it on it?
Wow, 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 wow. What a phenomenal question. How can we build, listen to the words, like Bob the Builder from back in the day, right? How can we establish a foundation and take our youth somewhere if we're not going to have leaders that will speak into their lives? This is just yet a taste of what you are going to experience on the State of Civility Youth Summit. We have put together a dynamic team of world leaders. Let's talk about that briefly before we bring everyone in. There is a lot going on in the world, and we want to make sure that we bring you the best and the brightest from all around the world. So here we are. We're talking about the State of Civility Youth Summit. Sir Clyde Rivers, we have Dr. Juma Nushan, who will be on with us later today from Africa. Let's talk a little bit about him.
That man is a phenomenal world leader in youth civility. He's a pastor, but he has a vision for the young people of the world. And you know what I love about this man is he's innovative, he's creative, and he's not afraid to take the step out there. And he's phenomenal.
Outstanding, outstanding. So that you will hear later on from Dr. Juma Nushan out of Africa. Then we have Elizabeth Curley. Let's talk a little bit about Elizabeth.
One of the most amazing young women you will ever meet in the world. She is fighting for the rights of women in the world. She understands that there's been a big gap between equity with actually women. And to have a young woman with a voice like hers, and she doesn't have a voice, her mind is brilliant, and she will help bring a reform to where the women of the world have a voice of equity. Elizabeth is phenomenal.
My. Okay, I hope that you're picking up what we're laying down. We're building blocks right now. So let's talk about Dr. Matthias Matula from Mozambique. Let's hear a little bit about him.
He is a vice chancellor for our United Graduate College and Seminary in Mozambique. The guy is a genius. I'm telling you, he is a young leader with a voice. He's actually he's the actual youngest professor in Mozambique. And the guy is blazing a trail for the next generation. And he's phenomenal.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then, of course, we have Dr. Anana Pfeiffer. Come on, tell us a little bit about her.
You don't have Anana Pfeiffer. Nobody has her. She is the franchise. She is one of the most phenomenal voices of women, young people in the world. She is truly, listen, people, one of the leading voices in the globe on bringing equity to humanity.
Oh, man, it's heating up. It's heating up. I hope that you recognize that the deck has already been stacked, my friends. Let's talk about another gentleman by the name of Sam Ayube. Come on, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria.
Sam, there's no words. The guy is a legend. He's one of the greatest artists in the world. But more than that, he has a heart for the continent of Africa. He has a heart for the world. And he is, I'm telling you, people, you will be so blessed to hear what this amazing young man is doing and what he has in store to bring to the world. Honestly, Dr. Burnett, the world is in great shape in the future. with the leaders we have.
Wow, wow, wow. And then, of course, last but not least, we have Dr. Ira Roach III from Delaware.
Greatness leader, that guy, Ira Roach. If you ever have the ability to be around the people he's mentored, the people he's mentored are some of the most flexible, brilliant people in the world. This man is one of the best kept secrets in the world. So I wanted to unwrap his gift on the state of civility.
Ooh. All right, folks. So bottom line up front, it's heating up. And I hope that you are ready. Listen, again, our desire is to make sure that every youth in the world, not in America, not on one continent, but around the globe, has an opportunity to feel the presence of great leaders. Oftentimes, what happens is we promote people after the fact, after they're gone. And that's not what we're about here. We're about civility in action. Today, we're going to be bringing you dialogue about the future and the voice of global youth, but we're going to do it from a format of civility in action. And I think the first person, Sir Clyde Rivers, that we're going to have up will be Miss Elizabeth Curley. Are you ready for that?
E. Curley in the house. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's do it. Let's bring Elizabeth Curley online. Miss Elizabeth, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are both of you?
Phenomenal.
Great, thank you.
Phenomenal. I couldn't be better. Listen, we are bringing the heat today, so I hope that you are ready. No matter what state, what city, what country or continent you are chiming in from, I challenge you right now to share this out, because the information that you are going to receive from these world leaders are going to change not only your perspective, but the world view for our youth. So right now, if you are currently watching, I challenge you to go ahead and click share or watch party it, whatever it is that you want to do, because there's youth that need to hear this message. Welcome, 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 Elizabeth Curley. All right, you are hailing all the way from Canada, right?
Correct. Yep.
Outstanding. Let me begin by asking you this question. Now, please, I want you to understand these questions are questions that we have polled, and we want to hear the answers from our panelists and speaker. Let's start off by asking you this. Do you feel that youth have a voice? And if not, how do we create that voice for our youth in our world today?
I think youth definitely do have a voice, especially in our interconnected global online world. There's always room for improvement. There are ways we can always work to reach out to youth around us, invite them to participate and make themselves heard through examples just like this Youth Civility Summit, inviting youth leaders to come up and speak. It's a great initiative to launch youth into making themselves heard. But in general, I do think that youth have a pretty big voice in the world today.
Great. What do you think? What is the importance of the voice of young people?
Well, youth are the future of, they're the future leaders, they're the future workers, they're the future of the economy, and they're going to be who will carry on the legacy of what leaders today will leave behind. And so they will have a very important role to play in the world.
Very good.
Absolutely.
So what you're telling me is youth are 100% of the future.
Definitely.
I love it. Go ahead, Dr.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, do you feel a dialogue with the older generation is effective for our youth today?
Again, my answer would be definitely. It's important for us to learn from the wisdom of leaders today, from the older generations. The thing about youth is we're young. We have a lot to learn. what we make up for with enthusiasm, we often do lack in experience. So we definitely need to have that dialogue with the older generations because they will still have valuable things to offer, especially in helping us build the world that we would like to see in the future.
I love it. I love it. This is dynamic to me. When I think about our youth, we've often heard that the youth are our future. But what we must do is invest in our youth. We must find a way that generations can actually download, cross-pollinate with one another. You know, one of the things that I think about, Elizabeth, is this. When we have our elders who pass on, oftentimes their wisdom, their knowledge, and experience leaves with them. And I want to find a way how we can actually impart before our latter days, impart wisdom, knowledge, expertise, experience, walking alongside our youth before we leave this earth. Do you have any thought on that?
I think you're definitely right. There needs to be an intergenerational dialogue so that the youth can pick up on the wisdom and knowledge that the other generations have gathered in their lifetime so that we don't lose those knowledge and that experience and those memories.
Wow, see, that's phenomenal. And because what I'm watching, Elizabeth, I've seen a dialogue gap there. And you know, and I think at times that gap, I believe the voice of the youth is so important as well. You know, there's issues now that the like generation doesn't understand the operating tools of this generation, the advances that are in technology, and as I met you in New York, I just believe you're one of those brilliant people. And if you're a friend of Dr. Rebecca Harper, I know you're brilliant. So I'm just honored to have you in here with us.
Absolutely. This is phenomenal. So, Elizabeth, let me ask you this question. And this is where I want to make sure that on this show, what we're doing on the State of Civility Youth Summit, we want to bring solutions to our youth, solutions to our continent, solutions to our regions that they can actually take back after they have listened to this show and say, I can use this. Share with us, if you would, 2 solutions that you would want to leave for someone who is listening that has the impact on our youth today. 2 solutions that you believe can help our youth in this new age and era.
So my 2 solutions would be to encourage youth to read and to network. So to talk about the first one a little bit, it's important that the youth they make themselves available to learn as much as they can, to be open to new information, to seek out information from unconventional sources, look at alternative media outlets, seek out articles written in critical scholarly journals, be well-read, be knowledgeable, and be open. That's part of taking in the wisdom from the older generations, because those articles will be written by other people who have experiences and wisdom to share with the younger generations that can definitely benefit us. And the second one, to network, it's important to reach out. Like, oftentimes it's intimidating. I know for me it's intimidating, but really people are amazing. And most often people will be open to helping other people, especially if you take the courage of taking that first step. Use the platforms that you have available to us in this interconnected, globalized world. We have so much technology available to us that allows us to reach people in our own communities, in our countries, across the world. This summit is a global summit. We have people from all over the world discussing, creating dialogue. And so really just take advantage of the technology of today to reach out and network with other people available.
Phenomenal. I really, really appreciate this, Elizabeth, because most people, they're going to give some type of fluff. And that's what I love about the world leaders that we have on this summit today. We're talking about reading and networking. If you're going to make effective change, you're going to have to learn from those who come before you. Every one of us, even us as an older generation, because they don't consider us youth anymore, right? But even us, we have to understand we are standing on the shoulders of so many great legends and giants. We have a voice today because they had a voice when they were around. So the wisdom that comes from reading and history, we can grow exponentially by picking up a book and reading it. We can grow in a decade within 1 hour if we take on the wisdom that is given to us. But what I love about our youth today, they are so innovative. They are so creative. They have so much ingenuity. And because of that, our world is going to be a better place, despite what it may look like today. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for chiming in from Canada. Thank you for bringing your best. I ask that you please hang on the line because I'm sure there will be questions that will come up in the chat. So stick with us. You've been listening to Elizabeth Curley. I'm talking about a youth leader on a global scale, all the way from Canada, right here on the State of Civility Youth Summit.
And I'm talking about the icon of civility for young people, Elizabeth Curley. Thank you so much. We enjoyed having you on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. Well,
Dr. V, I
sir.
want to add a couple of things.
Let's do it.
What's happening is this. Many people are criticizing the youth around the world right now. And I'm saying the youth are actually shaping their own future. You see, this is what I say. When someone, the youth are 100% of the future. They aren't 60%. They're 100% of the future. And the wisdom that we can give them and the energy they can bring to us is important. So I'm hearing people saying, I'm not going to apologize for our past. I go, no, the youth are shaping their own future regardless of your past.
Yes, yes. This is definitely phenomenal. I cannot stress enough how important it is today for our youth to be able to see people who are actually taking civility in action. It's imperative that we make sure that they know that we are more than just our past. We have a future. They are our future. And because they are our future, we can move forward. But we've got to be ready to promote. We've got to be ready to provoke. We've got to be ready to launch them into their next phase.
Yes, love it.
So technology, as mentioned, is something that we are utilizing even right now. We are truly around the globe. If you've been watching, people from multiple continents are chimed in despite the disparity in time. So youth is something that is needed now more than ever before to be built up, to have a voice, to be heard, to be seen, and to be appreciated. So I want to say again, thank you, Elizabeth Curley, for chiming in from Canada with the wisdom. Read and network. And in doing so, life will become better. You will get better if you concentrate on not being bitter. We're not going to sit and think about what happened in the past. We're going to make effective change today. Change starts right here and right now.
Perfect.
Thank you again, Elizabeth Curley. We appreciate you. We are now going to bring in Dr. Matthias Matola. Let's join him in here in just a moment. Thank you again, Elizabeth. Hang around for us. All right. Up next, the man with the plan, Mr. Matthias Matola. What's going on, sir? How are you today?
I'm doing so good, sir. I'm doing so good, so marvelous. I'm so blessed to be part of this life-changing channel event, and I want to express my sincere gratitude for and to you, Professor V, for the opportunity. I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Clara Rivers, as well, for this panel, which I believe is going to change. It is, of course, change lives worldwide. Thank you guys for Civility Worldwide, which is Civility 360. It just caused a great and a global impact, and I praise God for that. Thank you for accepting to be such a willing vessels of the Lord to change the world in a time such as this. I really appreciate God for that. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, once again, to have greatness on the line, to bring world leaders from all over the world, we're bringing in Dr. Matthias Matola, all the way from Mozambique. And let me share again with you who are listening, who are watching, who are chiming in, and even those who will be on the replay. The youth are our future. They are right here in our right now. So much so that you have people who are willing to stay up. It's well past midnight in some areas right now, but we are on the line because the youth are important to us. So we say thank you. We appreciate you. Come on, talk to us, sir.
Matthias, this guy, I'm telling you, he is one of the genius minds of the world. I'm telling you, people, when you get done hearing this man, there are no words for his greatness. So Dr. B, thank you for putting this together, for creating this stage. But this man is one the world needs to hear today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, without further ado, I know and appreciate the fact that you are on with us. I know you were on a previous show prior to coming on. So we just want to say thank you. Civility truly is moving forward and in action. Let's start off by asking you this question, Ambassador Matola. Do you feel that the youth actually have a voice today? If not, how do we create that voice for them?
Well, first and foremost, I would answer that question by saying yes and no. Why yes and no? It depends on the society where you are inserted. In some countries and parts of the world, yes, the youth may have do have a voice, but in others, like in my experience, Africa, Mozambique in particular, the youth do not have a voice as such. Let me give you an example. In 2017, I was in a meeting with a chancellor from one of the well-known universities in Mozambique. And he's about 60 years old. And this is what he told me. He said, "You are too young to hold a PhD." I was shocked. I mean, he's a university chancellor, the top educated leader at this particular university in Mozambique. Wow. And he's training young people, the future, the leaders of the future. And now he's telling me, young man, you are too young to hold a PhD. So I was shocked and very disappointed because he's an educator and he's part of the academia. So that's why I'm saying it depends where you are, from where you are inserted in society we're in. So I would say it's 50-50. In some societies, yes, the youth do have a voice, but in others, they do not. Now, here's your question. What can we do as young people to, let me say, in my experience, my society, where we do not have a voice as such? I think the number one thing we need to do is to take advantage of platforms such as these, social medias, and any other platform to promote a cause we believe in. Because and if we wait for other people, the older generation, to give us opportunities in place like my country, it will never happen. I mean, you will die, just you age and even die waiting. So what we have to do is to snatch every opportunity that God gives us to express our ideals, our beliefs, our cause, promote it at all possible levels. Just give our best into it. And then the other thing we need to do, we need to become leaders at our cause. And by creating new narratives, like Dr. Riva likes to use the expression narratives, just use that word. We need to create new narratives that will better mankind and advance the world. We just have to create narratives and choose, decide to become leaders. And then the other aspect which is going to help us get a voice, we need to understand that life is all about manifestation and not competition. We need to understand as young people, we aren't here to compete with ourselves. We aren't here to compete with the older generation. We are here to manifest the gifts, to manifest the gifts that God has given us, that God has deposited in us way before we even got to this earth. So we're here to manifest and not to compete, because if we want to compete, we will become we won't be originals. We can't be originals. So I believe that originals never compete. Originals manifest.
Wait, come on, Dr. V. I told you, Ambassador Matola is the man.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This is truly phenomenal. Yes. Yes.
So
Originals do not compete. I love that.
Yeah, not. So the other thing going to help us gain our voices, young people, we have to decide and choose to be the change we want to see in our communities, in our societies, and in the world at large. We have to decide if there's something that bothers me in my community. I shouldn't point fingers at nobody, not even the government, not even at the legal responsible people. The question is, here's the catch: what can I do to bring and to see the needed change in this community, in my society, or in my family, wherever it is? What can I do? So, like they say, if I point a finger at you, they say that 3 fingers are pointed at me.
Back at
so
me.
I still can choose and decide to do something to make the needed difference and change in my environment. So in other words, as young people, we need to assume full responsibility for our environment. Whatever we do not like, which is not even right, we have to decide to be the change we want to see.
Okay.
And then last but not least, we should not fear the days of small beginnings. We have to embrace it with all our hearts, all our minds, our strength, right? If you look at skyrock buildings, they started from somewhere, which I believe not from the top, right? So we need to be willing to start from scratch. You see, to be a pioneer is not something easy. People will not believe in you, won't follow you. They might belittle you, they look down upon you, call you names. So we just need to shut our ears off from all people are saying and be focused, right? Even the Bible says, do not fear the days of small beginnings. And last but not least, on this point, we need to embrace process. This is a key thing, key word, which even Dr. Rivers talks about this. We need to embrace process. So I believe if we just get the things in place, we will eventually get a voice back or become a voice. Just look at the tree. Let me just take you to a mango tree. I love mangoes. So look at this, Professor V and Sorry Rivers. Let's look at the mango tree. You got a mango tree in New York. It's very interesting to note that people only go to the mango tree when the mangoes are ripe, right? When it is when you sow the seed, you are irrigating, you're watering, and all. Nobody cares. Nobody's there except the farmer. But when the tree grows and eventually the fruits are up, we want to rush into it. And watch this. Watch this. When I go, I just love this. When I go to the mango tree, when I go to the mango tree, my front is facing right the mango tree. When I grab the fruit, I give my back to the tree. Watch this. Now. The mango tree doesn't get mad, doesn't get crossed up, right? It rejoices because why? Because I am fulfilling the reason why I came to earth. I came to give mangoes. So let them take. And you go, you eat a mango, whatever. And then watch this. Next time you come again and the mango tree still gives you the mangoes. So
well, y'all didn't know y'all was gonna get this philosophy from a mango tree, huh? Phenomenal. I love it. This is what it's really about, though. We have to make sure that we bring practical and applicable application to our youth. Most people
Yes.
don't understand. We don't need to come in eloquency of speech and all of these things. They need practical wisdom, practical knowledge that they can take and move forward with. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Man, and Dr. Matias, one thing that I want to say, he is a professor for our graduate college and seminary, United Graduate College and Seminary. He's one of the youngest professors in the world, and you understand why. And he's, as far as he's created an actual genius concept. That's why he's created find the actual genius within you, and he is truly a leading voice, as you can hear right now. And there's a person, Dr. V, that I want to have on our next youth summit, Soyam Shaw. I see her. She's logging in. Soyam, we're going to have you on one of our next panels. So stay ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me ask you another question, Dr. Matias. How would you say diversities of life are shaping our youth today?
Come again, please.
How would you say the diversities of life are shaping our youth today?
Right. I got a couple of thoughts about this one. Number one, there is a greater need for us to understand that life, nothing in life is permanent. Life is changing. There's a constant change in life, right? So we need to understand, young people, that what is today may not be tomorrow. So we need to learn to embrace change as part and parcel of life, right? So not, you see, there's this thing. There is a law. There's what I consider to be the number one law of life, which is the law of growth, progress, advancement, development. So as young people, we need to be ready for and expect constant changes in our lives and whatever we want to do and bring to pass in our own time. So we need to understand that's the number one thing. Then number two, we need to understand that no earthly governmental system can ever offer you a permanent solution except the kingdom of God. Let me say this again. No earthly governmental system can offer you a permanent solution except the kingdom of God. Nowhere, no matter what they may promise, no matter what's in the Constitution, they may promise during election, whatsoever, no earthly government can ever offer a permanent solution but the kingdom of God. Number three, I'm going back to what Dr. Rivers loves to say. Process is more important than perfection. Sometimes we are just hindered as young people. We want to wait for the right time, the right season, the right atmosphere, the right clouds, whatsoever. We want to be perfect first before we step out of the boat, right? And life's not just about that. Pioneers don't do that. Don't wait. Originators don't wait. Visionaries don't wait. God sent people with God's ability. Do not wait. When He says, get ready, set, go, you just go. You just have to.
Yeah, that's
so the other good thing, which the other thing I believe is going to happen is that we have to understand as young people that life happens in the now, right? In the sense that we have to be ready to grasp and grab every opportunity that God placed before us, even when we do not have the experience. If the opportunity knocks the door, just go for it. Don't wait for the experience. You're going to learn as you do. See, this is one thing which I love about the philosophical educational system of the United Graduate College and Seminary International. They teach you to be practical. They teach you to go for it. They don't wait for you to have the experience, to be perfect. They just say, hey, there's the thing, go for it. And they believe you learn as you practice. You learn as you do, right? So that's why it is one of the best schools to start at, UGCSI. So we need to understand this. We need to grab every opportunity that's there. Life is happening, like my life, our lives now, Professor V, Dr. Rivers, our lives is happening right now, taking place right now. Yes. So this is a thing that us young people need to understand. We shouldn't wait whatever we want to wait for, just go for it right now, and you're going to learn. The other thing which is important to understand is that practice or action doing is more important again than experience. We need to do, we need to go for it. We need to practice, dive into it, and we're going to learn, of course, as we run our course. Then there is another very important aspect, which is we need to be eternal students. We need to be constantly learning, developing, building our knowledge base every day, every time, every second. When it comes to learning, there are about 5 aspects to it, or 4 to 5 aspects. Number one, we need to learn from truth. We need to learn from truth. Whatever happens to us, whatever situation, bad or good, there is some truth we can glean from the situation. So we need to be attentive, be ready, be looking for the truth. Like Jesus says, thou shalt know the truth, and that truth will set you free. Now, there is a quote from Dr. Rivers. He likes to say that it brings together what Jesus says and what Peter says about the present truth. And Dr. Rivers says, I just love this, says there is a historical truth, right? And the present truth. So as young people, need to be looking for the present truth. What is the truth now that can work and bring the right and correct answer or solution for the situation right now? Then we need also to learn from principles, because I believe that God created life and the universe to function by principles. So we need to go for these principles as young people. We shouldn't just be guessing about life, about whatever we want to do. Let's go for principles, because life is run, the universe is governed by principles. And then when we talk about principles, we need to understand that there are spiritual principles and natural laws. They come together. They are truth exposed or delivered through principles, spiritual principles that manifest as natural laws. So I need to look for these natural laws. For instance, we know that birds do not struggle to fly, right? We know that fish do not struggle to fly, to swim. So, there is an area in which I'm not supposed to struggle, but then I need to know the principles. These are the case. And of course, we need to learn from other people. We are people that God brings in our lives. I'm talking about relatives, friends, neighbors. I'm talking about mentors, right? We need to learn from their lives, what they go through. We need to glean, to see, and pick up some principles, some life lessons. We need to learn from their successes, but also from their blunders. Now, here's the catch. When I look into their blunders, I'm not there to criticize or judge. I need to get some lessons from me. That's what we do. So we don't judge, we don't criticize. No. We just go there and pick some good nuggets for my life, which I can apply. And then last but not least, we need also to learn from our own experiences, our own circumstances, our own mistakes and blunders. So like I was saying, we need to be eternal students, constantly learning. This is, I believe, is the things that's going to help. And then we need, of course, to be always creating, seek to create new narratives and paradigms. This is going to help us much in the time such as this.
And you wonder why he is the youngest PhD in his country, huh? We're not playing any games here on Civility 360, folks. We are bringing you the best and the brightest from all around the world. Are you picking up what we're putting down right now? Dr. Matthias, come on, man. I am super excited because the youth and their lives will be changed. Listen, I want to dive right on in. There's so much that we can actually get into, but I need your 2 solutions. The youth are craving your 2 solutions. So if you would help me, share with me your 2 solutions that can help the youth in this new age as we enter this new era.
Well, there are 2 things, maybe 3, if you allow me.
Absolutely.
But there are 2 things we need to look. Number 1, there is what I call Edu-Sophia. Now, Edu-Sophia, I brought 2 words together. Number 1 is the word education. Edu from education, and Sophia from the Greek sophos, which means wisdom. Now, when I bring it to words, what am I trying to say? The root word for education means to learn from within. Learn from within. So when I bring Sophia, I'm saying there is divine wisdom inside you. So zoom in, zero in, go inside you. So if you this is very important because it's very important because Jesus says the kingdom of God is within, right? He says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Then he says again, the law and the prophets were until John. Then he says, until from that point up to now, the kingdom is preached and people press into it. Then he comes and says, the kingdom won't come with physical observations, like looking at the cloud in the air or whatever corner. He says the kingdom is within you. Now, we can find many definitions for the kingdom, but this is what I love. It means to me, amongst other things, the power and presence of God. Mean to say that the power and presence of God, which englobes, entails, is wisdom, ability, everything, is within man. So I think that I believe when God created us, he wired us with solutions for every possible problem that has I may encounter as an individual, but also as the world may encounter. So we've been trained and taught to look always so often outside ourselves. But we need to go back to God's education, which is God teaching us from within. So we need to go inside ourselves. Watch this, watch this. Paul says to Philemon, he says, your faith must become effective or productive, must produce results. But he explains how. He says, your faith must become effective through the acknowledging of everything good in you. So we need just to go inside ourselves. We need to go because everything is inside me. I may not know, I'm not be aware of it, I may not be conscious of it. It's okay, but it doesn't change the fact and truth that God deposited inside me. So I need to learn to zero in, go inside myself, us in particular as young people in a time such as this.
Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there. I want to pick up what you just put down. Everything you need is on the inside of you. You don't need Twitter. You don't need Instagram. You don't need Facebook. You don't need YouTube. You don't need everybody else's opinion. Everything you need is already inside of you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me see. Let me paint this picture. King Solomon says the following. He says that counsel is in the heart of man is like deep water. Then he says, but a man of understanding withdraw it. Now, counsel, it says, counsel in the heart of man. Heart of man. So, I mean to say that when we talk about counsel, we're talking about divine solutions, divine answers for every problem a man might have. And it says this counsel is where? Within their heart. That's why again it says, above all things, guard your heart. For out of your heart, say this is amazing. It says, out of your heart cometh the issues of life. So we need just to go inside ourselves, teach ourselves to go in and begin to extract what God has put over there, even before we were born. Then the second key or solution I would say is, guys, let's learn to believe in ourselves. Let's develop an unwavering faith in ourselves. This is very important because we believe in everybody. We tend to believe in our presidents, our pastors, our bishops, our friends, but I believe everybody but in myself. So we need to change this, work on ourselves to the point where we come to a point where as young people we learn to believe in ourselves totally unconditional. There is a scripture which sometimes in Africa we don't seem to understand, which is 2 Chronicles chapter 20, where the Bible says believe, I think it says believe in God and you shall be established. Then says believe in his prophets. Watch this, please watch this. It says believe in his prophets, right? And thou shalt prosper.
Mhm.
So in Africa, what we do, we believe in God for sure. Then we take our whole faith. We believe in our prophet, our man. But then 3 years ago, this is what the Holy Ghost told me. He
Mhm.
says, you are not understanding the scripture. I said, what do you mean? It says, when I say believe in your prophet, you need to know who is your prophet. Then I'm asked, who is my prophet? Then it says, you are the most important and the most powerful prophet in your life. I'm like, what do you mean? He says, every time you think, every time you entertain emotions, you are prophesying over your life. Man, man,
Drop the mic.
that got me.
That's it right there. Drop the mic. I hope that you young people are hearing the wisdom, the education, the nuggets that are coming out on this show today. Dr. Matthias, listen to me very, very clearly. You are a
Yes,
voice
sir.
for the ages, and the youth will know it because they're hearing you today across the globe. Across the
I
globe.
receive. Amen.
Hands
Amen.
down, you are a voice for the ages. And as they listen and as they apply the wisdom, the nuggets, they will begin to see manifestation in their lives. We cannot manufacture that which God wants to manifest in our lives. So therefore, take it to the book, get your wisdom from your creator, know that you have everything on the inside of you that you need. You just got
That's
to
amazing.
see yourself the way God sees you. I love it. I
That's
love
right.
it. You
That's
had
right.
a
That's
third.
right.
You had a third. I'm not going to let you go until you give me the third.
Put the foot on the gas.
Well, the third aspect is just actually it's a question, which has to do with identity. Who am I? As young people need to answer this question correctly. Who am I? Because unless I know who I am, I can't love myself unconditionally. Then unless I know who I am, I'll spend the rest of my life comparing and competing with other people. So we need to understand that first and foremost, I'm not flesh and blood. You see, even Jesus asked his disciples, said, hey guys, whom do men say that I am? They went blah, 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 blah. Then he zeroed into them. He says, whom do you say that I am? Watch this, watch this. Then Peter says, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Watch this. Then Jesus says, flesh and blood did not reveal it unto thee, but my Father who is in heaven. Meaning to say that, actually, please get this. He's saying that from the 7.8 billion people on earth, nobody can fully grasp your identity. Nobody can really truthfully define who we are. Nobody really knows you. We are full of opinions. We give our opinions based on what we see with our physical eyes. Okay, Dr. This and that, Sir Rivers, this, that, but we cannot really know, we can't define you. He says only God truly knows you. So I understand that there's a difference between opinions and truth, right? I may have an opinion about who we are, but God has the truth. And then it says from that scripture it says that nobody can know who you truly are except by revelation. God has to tell you who I am. Otherwise, forget about it. So I'm not supposed to make my life or do my life, have my life based on other people's opinions. I must base on what God says. So who are you? Who am I? So this is going to help us understand. And just to give a hint, we have to know that I say we are not flesh and blood. We are spirit beings created in the image and likeness of God. So it all comes down to have a personal, healthy relationship with yourself. This I was going to drop with the young people.
Listen, listen, listen. And if you are in your 20s, listen, Linda, are you picking up what you've been hearing right here on the State of Civility Youth Summit? Listen, the nuggets have been dropped. The minds have been blown. And we're continuing on. We're just getting started. The plane is getting ready to take off. Dr. Matias, I ask that you hold on. I know there are going to be some questions towards the end. Come on, Sir Clyde Rivers, talk to us really quick. Oh, man, this is good. This is good.
Our job is to create stages to lift the young people higher. It's no longer about us competing. It's about us creating platforms, allowing them to walk and do their thing. And in relationship, they can come to us and ask us for help or what they need. See, one of the great things I see, Dr. B, is how do you try to guide a gift like this? You have to let Dr. Matias, Professor Matias, soar. And if you served him right, he'll never forget you. Matias, we're honored. We're honored to have you as a voice for the world, not just Africa. You're a voice for the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are truly, truly excited, appreciative. Dr. Matias, Professor Matias, Chancellor. I mean, there's so many different titles. The people don't know what to do with it, but you have not heard the last of Dr. Matias. This is just one of the many venues and platforms that we will have him on. Truly a gift to the world. My. Listen, if you are not watch this, I need you to pick up what I'm saying. Not motivated. Motivation only lasts about 72 hours if you don't do anything with it. If you are not inspired to go higher in your life after listening to these people who have been on this platform, something is blocking your worldview. I need you to open up your mind, your heart, and your eyes to see that our youth are our future, and we will do everything at any cost to lift them up and prepare them for greatness. Thank you, Dr. Matias. Please hold the line, my friend. This is phenomenal. And again, you've gotten 3, not 2, but 3 dynamic solutions that will truly knock your socks off. Thank you, my friend. Blessings and peace to you. Just hold tight.
My goodness.
We are about to bring on Dr. Anana Pfeiffer. And folks, man, listen, the plane is moving. The train is vibrating, and we're about to take it to an A game. So stick with us, folks. If you haven't already shared this stream with someone who you know life needs to be changed, anyone who has kids, any youth that are out there, they need to hear the words of wisdom that are coming from these world leaders. I promise you, this is not about us. This is about civility in action. This is about dialogue for our future, for the voice and the global voice of our youth. This is what it's all about, folks. So again, thank you for being on the line. Thank you for sharing. Let's bring Dr. Anana on the stream. Blessings. How you doing?
My goodness.
She's already fanning the flame. What's going on?
What? You got me after Dr. Matias then came on. Listen, I can't drop my mic like I want to. But y'all see this? I'm just going to put it down because he done dropped the mic.
Well. It's time to do it. Listen, folks, I hope that you all are enjoying yourself and truly getting some wisdom and nuggets that you can give to your youth. I want to make sure that we are building our youth, that we are letting them know that they are appreciated, they are cared for, and they have a space and a place in the conversation and at the table today. Talk to us, Sir Clyde Rivers.
Her nickname is A-Game Anana. I just found her nickname is A-Game. And what I want to say about Dr. Anana is she's a woman that puts her words in motion. She has worked with me in different countries, and she's gone in from scratch and built something. So, and she called me a couple weeks ago. We were talking. She said, our young people are basically on the vine, not knowing what to do. So she's working youth and civility. She has Blessed Girl, and she's taking the wisdom and her inspiration to empower the next generation. This is why I said we have to have her on, because she is a bridge to help the young generation cross over. So A game, bring it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence, and we're about to bring the heat with the A game. So the first question up, Dr. Anana, is this: do you feel that the youth actually have a voice? And if not, how do we create that voice for them in this world today?
Well, let me just first thank you, two amazing, amazing world leaders. 360 Civility is doing it. I appreciate you so much, Dr. Joseph, Ambassador Sir Rivers. Thank you, sir, for leading the way, being great examples, and, really just paging, like really setting the standards, setting the bar for us all to go and take action and serve those around the world. So I first want to just say thank you. I salute you, and I appreciate you both so much for giving us the courage to go forward and fulfill God's purpose in the land. So I just, again, salute you both. So now let's go right into it, because, Dr. Matias done did it. So let's first talk about this thing called the voice, right? So when we speak about the voice, now I do believe that, yes, the youth have a voice, right? And I want to just first, because, I'm in New Jersey, I'm in the US, and there's some images out there. There's some things that have gone on in our community. Yep. And when we talk about the voice is a sound, right? It's a sound produced in a person in their larynx, right? Which is their voice box, right? And so when I know right now, currently in the past week, that a African-American man was killed by someone putting their foot on their neck, right? Taking away his breath, his life. There's just something about the time that we're in right now, and you asking me about the voice. Oh my goodness. So yes, sir, let me just say, yes, our youth have a voice. They are producing a sound. Yes, they are. But here's the thing. Number one is, are you listening? Number two, are you giving them a platform, an area, a space to use their voice? And number three, we have to be so careful, because so often we stifle their voice.
Wow.
We don't want to hear that. That don't sound like, that voice don't sound right. What they're saying, that sound, their attitude, right, doesn't fit the frame that we think should, right? So we have to be, so careful. Of course, us, the older generation, because we're in that, right? So we have to make sure that, yes, our youth have a voice. But those of us that are older, are we, again, listening to what they're saying? Our music, our culture, the rap music and so on, reggae, whatever it is, whatever area that their voice, they're using it. Are we listening? Are we listening to how our women and our girls, all they know about is, twerking and how much money I can get from a dude? Are we listening? Are we listening to what they're saying and where they're placing value? Right? So these are the things that I have to say when we talk about our youth. Oh, they have a voice. But we have to be careful, to listen, to tune in, turn our station down, switch to the frequency of our youth, and let's listen to what they are saying today in this time, in this arena. We have to do that. We have to do that.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for breaking that down. Number one, are you listening? Wow. Number two, are you giving them a space to use their voice? Number three, are we stifling their voice? You see, just because someone doesn't look like you, sound like you, and do the things that you do, don't mean that you should dismiss them. And our youth today, yes, they are different. Their music is not the same as ours. Their mannerisms is not the same as ours. But can we teach them? Can we show them? Can we let them know that they are appreciated? They are heard. They are seen. This is the key. They are not to be dismissed. They are to be used in a way where they can bring positive light. They are to be heard so they know that we do care. The youth need us to be present while we're present. That's what I'm hearing right now.
And Doc, I have something I want to interject. I think one of the things that we have to not do is place our experiential fears on their young creativity.
Come on now.
If it didn't work for me, it doesn't mean it won't work for them. So we need to, and you know what? As I look what's taking place in the world as a result of Mr. Floyd dying, where are the stages for the young people? Where are they? Where are the TV shows talking to them? Where are this? So there are no platforms. So they're making platforms, and they are right now shaping their own future, whether you agree with it or not. They are making space to be heard. I'm telling you. So one of the things we have to begin to create platforms and not over mentor, not make them walk like us, talk like us, dress like us, speak like us. No, create a stage. Guess what? They're in process. Again, as people tell me, I'm tired of explaining my history. I said, they're not asking about your history. They're shaping their tomorrow.
Come on now.
Go ahead, Anana.
So true. And when you even talk about tomorrow, and I know we had that mentioned, for us in the US, like here's the thing. The youth is 24% of the US population. 24%. This is 2017. And just a plug, make sure you guys in the US complete the census. Make sure you stand up and be counted. But listen, the youth is 24% of our population. But what percentage are they of our future? Somebody tell me, you watching,
100%.
What percentage of you spoke about it, Dr. Joseph,
100%.
They are 100%. So why are we not investing in them? Why are we not helping to develop their voice? Because this is it. 74.2 million people are under the age of 18. That's in the United States. But around the world, because this is a global audience, it's 1.8 billion people in the world are under the age of 18. That is huge. And we can't miss that. We cannot overlook them. We have to tap into their resource. We have to build and really inspire them for the next generation. They are the future. And here's what it is: 87% of that age group, that 10 to 18 years old, 87% are the youth that are in the developing countries right now. How can we not do this outreach and minister and go out to those 87%? We got some work to do, guys. And here's what I know: the youth deserve an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to thrive, an opportunity to be who and what God has called them to be in this time, in this season. And it's so funny because, Dr. Mateus, he talked about it. There's an identity crisis. We need to understand there's an identity crisis happening right now. The youth don't know who they are. And who's telling them who they are? The people that don't know who they are. So we have, it's just an incredible time. There is an identity crisis right now happening right amongst us, and helping our youth to know who they are, how valuable they are. It is so important. It's so key. So I thank you. This 360, this youth summit on civility is so key. So key. So I'm excited to be here.
Wow. Listen, folks, I hope that you all are picking up what is being put down here at the Civility Youth Summit. This is not a game. This is our lifestyle. This is what we live each and every day. We are standing up because we believe in our youth. We want to see civility in action. So therefore, we are going to be the change that we seek. And we invite you to do the exact same. Let me ask you this, Dr. Anana. Do you feel dialogue with the older generation is effective for our youth today?
Listen, this is such a powerful question, because I'm going to first give you this quote, right? And this is a quote from Her Excellency, my girl in my head, Michelle Obama, right? So y'all listening, right? She says, so many of us have gotten ourselves to the table, right? But we're still too grateful to be at the table to really shake it up.
Come on now, becoming.
So I'm talking to
Stay
the
with me.
older generation, right? We've gotten to the table, we've gotten to the position, we've raised, gotten up in the ladder of corporate America, if you will. We might be living in the neighborhood, right? But what are we doing to shake things up? What are we doing to stand up and speak up about what is going on in our community and how our youth are being affected? We've got to change that. Now I can tell you, I mean, again, this is real time for me because I'm a mother of 3 boys, 3 Black boys in the US today, right? So just today, my mother, my son's grandmother, came over, sat at the table and spoke to my sons about riots, about the civil rights movement, right? So this is so relevant now for to make that connection, to bridge the gap because they lived through it. And sadly to say, here we are 30, 40, 50 years later experiencing the same thing. So my grandmother can give back to my son and tell him, how she organized groups, how they marched, the things that they did, so that bridge and connecting that gap is so important. But we cannot be afraid to shake things up. We've gotten here, we've arrived, and it's time for us to have that dialogue. Talk to our youth about what they are experiencing. Again, we said some of the kids now, they were born during 9/11. Now here they're graduating. They're going into the university. They're going into the workforce during the time of a pandemic. Living in a pandemic, living in a time of crisis, the timing of where we are right now, it is so important for this conversation that we're having and for everyone watching. You have family, you have youth connected to you. It's time to talk. It's time to dialogue. It's time to open the communication. Use your voice and use your ears to listen to the voice of the youth. It's time.
Dr. V, when I first started working with the world leaders, I was happy to be at the table with the photo. I am no longer happy with the photo. I am no longer happy being in the room. I'm happy when we're in the room and we come out with legislation that betters humanity.
Come on now.
So what I'm saying is this. Guys, I made calls this morning. I had people making calls to several police chiefs. I'm going to meet with the police chiefs around the actual globe and say, injustice to one is injustice to us all. Great. That sounds good as a slogan. How do we walk this into life? And this is why these actual summits that we are doing are no joke. We're going to take this within the next week. This will be in 2,500 media outlets, your voice. You see, there has to be a strategy. There has to be, your voice has to be big enough. And when your voice is big enough, and let me just share this with you. Your voice has to be big enough to be on your own stage. When I go talk to world leaders, they need my stage now. I don't need theirs. I'm Sir Clyde Rivers. I say that humbly by the grace of God, but everyone doesn't understand who God is in the world. So when I come as Sir Clyde Rivers, there better be royalty, and they will listen to what I say, because everyone doesn't understand who God is. But listen to me. Everyone understands titles. My next book will be The Power of Titles. Titles change everything. So we have to build the individual stage to where they can walk on the stage and be the voice of change, not a part of the dialogue, the voice of change. That's what we're creating. So that's why I'm excited, Nan, about what you're saying, what you're doing, because we're moving. It's talk, and of course we're gonna have a dialogue. And please, people, let me give you some advice. When you enter into the room, you better have a solution, not just an argument. When you enter into the room of problem solving in the world, don't just have an argument. I spent this morning with a guy on the phone talking to me about all the wrongs. I said, what's the solution?
There it is.
What's the solution? What's the solution? He couldn't answer. He couldn't answer. I said, so when you get to the room, you have nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to add to the fire. What I'm looking at how do we get reform? What does reform look like? What does the knowledge look like of it? So this is what we're going for. So Anana, man, go ahead, Dr. V.
Absolutely. Listen, I mean, we're saying exactly what you need to know. You better believe that we are having conversations. Just because you may not see it on social media doesn't mean that the platforms and the tables aren't being set. And if you are a lawmaker, if you are someone who is watching our State of Civility Youth Summit, we believe that we have the right voices to come to the table to bring true solutions to the world, not to one state, but to the world. So if you need to hear from us and you heard something that you believe can transform your city, your state, your region, your country, your continent, be sure to contact us at civility360@gmail.com. We are taking calls. We are actually preparing to go different places and have those conversations where it matters so that we can make a difference. Let me continue on here with Dr. Anana. I need two solutions. I need two solutions that you feel can help our youth in this new age and new era. Talk to us.
Indeed. Well, number one, and is this. Again, I talked about the identity crisis. We have got to check our identity. We have got to know, again, who we are. And the thing, when I go and travel around the world, especially working with young girls, they don't know who they are. And they haven't taken the time. And it's funny because we can say even young girls, but then I meet women all over the globe that don't know who they are, right? Because a society, a culture, right, have told them who they are, that they've lost their true identity. So number one, for anyone that's watching, especially our youth, is you have got to know your true identity. And that's what we do. We check IDs. Anana, Dr. Nana, the blessed girl, it's time to check some IDs because there's so many counterfeits walking around. Who is that? That's not really you, boo. That's not you. I know that's not you. So I got to spend time with you to get to who you are in your core, who it is that you are called to be. And even in that, it deals with diversity. We all have diverse skills. We have diverse personalities, diverse values, diverse attitudes. And I have to let you know that it's okay to be who you really are. It's okay to be that person. So number one is we got to come out of this identity crisis. We have to check. We need to check IDs at the door. You get on a plane, you go to school, you can't go in any classroom now without an ID, right? And I tell you, we're talking about 360 civility, people working and moving around the world. We got to check IDs. We need to know who we really are, who we stand for. As Dr. Mateus said, who God has called you to be. And the thing is, it's inside work. It's not going to come from the president. It's not going to come from your pastor. It's not going to come from your mama. It's not going to come from Dr. Rivers. Your identity, God has already given you. So it's time to check our identity. That's number one. Number two, because that's again, number one, I got to know who you are. I got to know who you are. Then number two is become a champion. Become a champion. Now we like to see champions. We all know champions. Michael Jordan got his special going on. I know Serena Williams. I mean, you all can pick and tell me of a champion, right? We see and we celebrate champions all around the world. But I'm saying to you today, Youth Civility, this summit, you watching, you be a champion. Now, and when the only way you can really do that, again, is to know your identity, right? And to tap into that. And with me and with women in youth civility, the four things that we look for, and I would encourage you all, because again, it could be in different areas, is the 4 C's. Civility, amazing. You guys are champions for civility, right? But that might not be your thing. But you could be a champion for your community, right? You can know and understand your community and become a champion, become a voice, right, for your community, right? You can become a champion through your creativity. Your thing might not be speaking. It might not be even verbally doing anything, but you can be a champion artist. You can be a champion drummer. You can be a champion pot maker. I don't know what it is, but you are a champion. But I need you to become a champion, right? And the last one is to become a champion in climate change. Yes, yes, yes. I know even now with what's going on, there's a few things to climate change, but all around the world, climate change is major. What affects you over there affects me over here. What I can do here can affect you and help you. We got to talk about climate change in our community. So become a champion. And I love my missionary out of Burundi. She said this, you can change the climate. So when you become a champion, you have the ability to change the climate wherever you are. So when I step in the room, I come in the room, boom, I change the climate. I bring the heat because I know my identity. And number two, I know I am a champion. So that's all I'm here to do to talk about. Those will be my 2 steps, Dr. Joseph.
Absolutely. Listen, folks, I hope that you all are picking it up because Dr. Anana is definitely putting it down. Check your identity. Yes, checking IDs. That means an identity crisis is really happening in our world today. Become a champion. Become a champion. Listen, folks, I hope that you are picking it up. And not only that, we want you to change the climate. You can do it. Bring the best version of you possible and change the climate. Talk to us, Sir Clyde Rivers.
And what we have to do, we have to allow God to be legal again.
Come on now.
We have systems that won't let God in, and we expect him to be righteous. The only way in the world you will have the ability for a world to function properly is for people to understand their identity in God, how God made them. I tell people, quit looking for equality. It's not real. Look for equity of opportunity to where your gift has equitable access so you can bring your unique gift to the world. This is what it is. When we allow God to be illegal in schools, illegal in government, how do you expect a righteous nation to rise up when he's illegal?
Wow, wow, wow. There's nothing else to say, folks. I just hope that you all are picking up what actually is being put down right now. It's time to allow God to be legal again. Now, you don't control God, but what we do know is you can't ask God if you don't even allow God to come to the table in your life. So if you want to see effective change, folks, you've been given the nuggets, the wisdom, the experience. You've been given everything that you need to succeed. Youth, I hope you hear us. You see and you're experiencing our heart towards you. We want you to succeed. We want to give you everything you need to succeed. We are championing you. We want your voice to be heard. We want to show the world that you are important. And that is the reason that we are having this summit. This is not the only summit that we will have on the topic, but we wanted to bring some world leaders to show you how important you are to us. Dr. Anana, I salute you and I say thank you. We appreciate you. And we ask that you continue to press forward with your A-game work all around the world.
A-game, A-game, A-game.
Please hold on. I'm sure there will be questions towards the end. We are going to bring in Dr. Jumanu Sham, who is chiming in from Africa. Thanks again, Dr. Anana. We appreciate you and we salute you. So Are you excited, folks?
My
Do you
goodness.
have information, revelation, application, experience that is going to transform the youth lives in your area? I know the answer is yes. The
Jesus.
question is, what will you do with the solutions that you've thus far heard? And how are we going to show our youth that we care? At the end of the day, action, action, action speaks louder than words. So as you've been listening to these solutions, we want to put these solutions into action. We're
Yes.
about to bring on Dr. Juma Nusham from Africa. Hold just one moment as we bring him in. Dr. Juma, how are you, my friend?
Oh my goodness, I'm great. I'm great. Awesome to meet once again on 360 Civility.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We thank you for being on. As you know, those who watched the last summit, our summits bring about manifestation. And this summit came about from our last summit. And we have brought some of the best and the brightest gifts from all around the world. Dr. Juma, I know it is extremely late in your country right now, and I know that you have services that you are going to be conducting in just a few hours. So thank you for being on. We want to make sure that we dive right in. Before I do so, Sir Clyde Rivers, a few words.
Juma's an unlimited machine. This man here this man is going to revolutionize the world. I'm telling you. Let me encourage you with something. When you take what God gives you, like the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, when you give thanks to God for what your gifting is, he multiplies it. Anyone watching this young man, when you're faithful over little, it becomes your stewardship for rulership. And he is a faithful man that will abound in the blessing of God. Guaranteed. He's one of the great young voices in the globe today. Juma, we're honored to have you with us.
I'm so humbled. Those words are breaking my inner being. I'm so humbled, Sir Clyde Rivers. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you, Professor Vaned. This is amazing. I'm extremely blessed by all the speakers who have already spoken. And thank you for the heart you have for the young generation. Thank you for seeing and bringing the future on this platform of Civility 360. I'm so blessed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Juma. Listen, we are super excited. I want to go ahead and dive right on in. You know, I'm going to start with a different question, but I want to ask you, how are the diversities of life shaping our youth today?
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And let me begin by saying diversity is really diverse. And when we talk about diversity, we are looking at diverse issues that touches the youth and touches the generation that we do believe is very, very critical for the future and even for the now. Let me say that, you know, most times diversity is frequently perceived as reason of conflict, of hatred, and even of division. That's how perception of many people, you know, settles on diversity. But I don't believe that diversity should be perceived as the place of hatred and the place of division and the place of conflict. I do believe when diversity is well defined, you will discover that it has positive values. And when I look at it and how it shapes the lives of the young people and the youths, I can say positively, diversity is a key to developing common values. If we have to have common values, we must appreciate our diversities. And that's why I look at it positively, because when young people come together from diverse perception, diverse experiences, when they come together, those who are not inspired find themselves inspired as they look at the others, as they meet the others and understand their perspective about life. I can also say positively, diversity enriches our cultural landscape in the sense that each one of us is coming from a particular culture. And even if your culture and your perception in that culture may be inferior, when you bring your culture and I bring my culture, the landscape becomes an enrichment, across the board. You are enriched and I am enriched. And you see, the beauty of diversity is that each and every one of us is enriched in all aspects of life. We get new opportunities out of our diversities. We are able to boost our own lives economically out of diversity. So I'm simply saying that diversity, if well defined, diversity, if well appreciated, it is one of the powerful building force of humanity. It brings a lot of cohesion once you appreciate it. But if it is not appreciated, it is important for me to say that it will shape the young people and the young generation in a negative way. Wow. If diversity is not appreciated, we are going to have discrimination. We are going to have oppression. If diversity is not appreciated, it is going to bring about, violence. It is going to bring about isolation, issues to do with racism and insecurity and ethnicity. I was just thinking about what is eating, for instance, Africa. It's like ethnicity is so thick in the blood of African. And when you come to the other aspect, you see that racism is also very thick in the blood of others. But why is it that way? And why do we look at it that way? It's because we haven't appreciated the diversity of one another. So I may simply say in summary, diversity actually shapes the life either positively or negatively, depending on your definition about it.
And Dr. V, this is an important aspect he just brought up.
Yes.
This is why you hear me say 7.8 billion people. You want to know why? Because there's just as much racism in Africa where people are the same color. It's called tribalism. So what happens is we have to, if we're going to be true freedom liberators for the world, we have to look at it on every continent. We can't highlight one division, but it's okay over here. That's not who I am. If it's division here and it's different skin color, if it's division here, it's the same skin color. To me, it's division. To me, it's a problem. And we have to address the problem head on because it's a spiritual problem. So again, what he said that's so powerful, if we don't I got something while you were speaking, Dr. Juma. We have to redefine unity as diversity.
Yes.
When we show that diversity makes each one special. So here it is. We've defined unity as everyone together thinking the same thing. True unity, we have to redefine unity. It's everybody bringing their individual piece to the pie. Then we'll see change. Thank you, Dr. Juma.
I like it. I like it, Sir Clyde Rivers. You're bringing it. God is a God of diversity, and the beauty of God is in diversity.
I love it. I love it. Listen, I don't know who is listening, who's watching, going to be watching the replay, but the valuable nuggets that are given today on the State of Civility Youth Summit will literally transform the lives of our youth for generations to come. All they have to do is take the solutions and begin to apply them to their life. When I tell you that we have brought a panel together, a global panel, to ensure that we have a dialogue about the future and the voice of our global youth, this is where it starts. The action that is taken afterwards is how it continues. We never want it to be finished. So what I'm asking each and every one of you who are watching, who are sharing, who are commenting, is to listen for the solution. Every time we have a State of Civility Summit, we are bringing you solutions. This will go out, as you heard, to over 2,500 different outlets, media outlets around the globe. So this is not a game for us. So, ma'am, sir, and even all of our youth that are out there, share this broadcast with your friends and those who you know need it most. And you will be surprised that the older generation needs to hear it as well. So thank you, Dr. Juma, for bringing that insight on diversity. Let's move on to our next question. Do you feel dialogue with the older generation is effective for our youth today?
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Professor, this is one important question that I want any youth anywhere and any older generation listening us, they should consider this as one of the greatest opportunity for a blending. Let me say this. No one can be a champion in 2 generations. You can only be a champion in a generation. And if you cannot be a champion in 2 generations, it is important that you serve your generation with the best you can offer. And this means, now, I appreciate this question because there must be a dialogue between the older generation and the younger generation. No generation can grow and succeed in a vacuum. There is no generation that can spiritually succeed in a vacuum, politically succeed in a vacuum, socially succeed in a vacuum, economically succeed in a vacuum. Successful people in any field, I must say, by any measure of success, the people that succeed in life always must learn to profit from the experiences and the knowledge of others. There is no way you can succeed if you have not profited from others. And that's why the older generation is a backbone for the success of the younger generation. There is a lot that the younger generation has to imbibe from the older generation. What worked with the older generation may not necessarily work with the new generation or the younger generation. So there must be a dialoguing. There must be that aspect whereby they are able to share, whether it is cultural differences, what has worked in the older generation, can it work with this younger generation? So as young people, I want to say it is important that we give ourselves permission to listen, to learn, and discover what worked and what did not work, so that we avoid replicating weaknesses of the older generation. If we have to avoid replicating the weaknesses, we must dialogue. Let us hear why didn't it work with them. Then from there, I do believe That's when we can creatively have answers to what may be challenging us today. Somebody said creativity is using somebody else's answers to solve difficult problems that you may be having. That's creativity.
Doc.
The older generation has certain answers and certain things that never worked. So we better embrace, we watch what worked with them, what did not work, and out of that, we creatively get our answers.
Doc, let me interject something. Dr. Juma, that's brilliant. Let me share you with you what I'm doing now. There's a thing called lineage sickness. Lineage sickness. Cultural sickness. Every lineage has good and every lineage has bad. What happens, part of the problem is this, and it's biblical. Man's tradition makes the word of God of no effect. So what has happened with many of the issues around the world today is lineage sickness passed along. Generational histories of racism, of tribalism passed on. That's lineage sickness. We have to learn from the lineage what is good, as Dr. Juma said, and what is bad. So I believe God is right now is actually challenging lineage sickness, saying leave the bad from your lineage and your histories and don't move it to the next generation.
Absolutely.
And that's why sometimes I think to actually dialogue with the older generation, you can pick up the virus of lineage sickness, and you'll walk out their negative tribalism or racism or hatred. You'll walk it out, and it's never even happened to you. So we must deal with lineage sickness.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Prof, working alone without dialoguing is self-limiting. So the young generation should not work alone. We need dialogue.
Wow. 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 Let's dive in, Dr. Juma, to two solutions. Solutions that you want to share that you believe can help our youth in a new age and in this new era. Let's talk about that.
We have to look at two solutions. Okay, there could be so many solutions because they are, a solution is meant to solve a problem. And when I look at the problem that the two solutions I'm going to give us will solve, one of the major problems that I tend to think I will summarize in this, there is what you call bad ethics. When I was just looking at almost all economies around, I realized that 70%, now this one will shock you, 70% of our budget in all our economies actually goes to treating problems that are as a result of bad ethics. It will shock you that bad ethics brings a lot of problems. And when it comes to the younger generation, there are many problems that actually eat into the budget of every economy. Now, because of this, I had to look at what is the first solution that I could offer to my generation. What could treat this problem that is even eating a lot from the economies of the nation? And one of it has to do with, I must admit this way, building better ties with authorities is important. Building better ties, or rather creating a positive environment with authorities. I have increasingly observed that today's younger generation has a lot of disconnect to the authorities. actually among the seven mountains of influence, which His Excellency Dr. Clyde Rivers has spoken about it in his book about, you know, the seven mountains. I think that one has to do with the state or the government. It has to do with business, church, family, media, education. These are power centers of influence, and they are authorities that the younger generation has to interact with. But let me shock you, younger generation can only be have been dominating one area we call entertainment. When it comes to issues to do with leadership in the state, they are nowhere. When it comes to churches, they are nowhere. So I am asking, if at all we have to solve the problem of younger people, what are we supposed to do? We must build better ties. Positive environment will allow the young people to prove what they carry. It will allow the young people to contribute to the development. And that's why I propose it as a first solution. Very important for me, because it gives the young people an opportunity to be part of the solution. So when we develop these positive ties with authorities, we are able to make contribution as a younger generation. We are able to build and promote constructive patterns, whether it will be social, whether it will be political, whether it will be social, spiritual. We are able. So that is one of the solutions I can offer. And second one, I think it is important I look at the system of our education and institutional learning. I do believe it is important to reintegrate civility ideals in learning institution. It will be a solution to what we are facing in today's current tensions that are all over. You realize that our education, I think when you look at the history of education, the early education embraced the ideals of civility. But with the time, modern education has focused largely on academic instruction, and they have left the civility ideals outside. Actually, when it comes to looking at the tensions that are happening today in all sectors, politically, spiritually, even in our religious organization, when you go and you see what is happening, all those incivility acts are as a result of kicking certain values or minimizing certain ideals that could help each institution. So I also propose that number 2 of the solution has to do with reintegrate civility ideals in our learning institutions, in our learning curriculum. That will be a solution. So number 1, we build better ties with authority, engineer respectful conversation with authority. And number 2, reintegrate institutional educations with the civility ideas.
Yes, 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 and more yes. This is what it takes to make sure that our youth are engaged at the next level, that they have a seat at the table. We have to teach them how to respect authority, and we have to teach them how to engage. Dr. Juma, man,
yes,
phenomenal. As always, my friend. I love it, love it, love it.
Best.
This is good. This is good. Well,
Awesome.
Dr. Juma, it's always a pleasure to have you on, sir. If you can, I know you have only a few hours left before you start tomorrow or today's celebrations. So we understand if you have to go, my friend. but blessings to you. Thank you for
Thank you, sir.
being here and giving us some wisdom for the youth as we move forward in this era. We appreciate you and we love the work that you are doing. We salute you. God bless you, and we will see you soon, my friend.
Thank you so much, Professor Vanet. And I forgot one thing to say. Our ambassador, His Excellency Dr. Clyde Rivers, spoke these words, and I quote, "I am in contact with the law enforcement around the world to open up a dialogue regarding injustice. Civility is never impartial to injustice. Civility moves to action." Now, I celebrate you, His Excellency. Thank you. My heart has just been moved by what has happened. I've always believed that, as it has always been in history, America is a land of civilization. And we are praying that it will not just be a name that is historical. We are praying that the culture that is civil is going to be entrenched in all disciplines, in all positions, elected position. So thank you for being the voice of announcing that. We were watching and we were not believing that what we are seeing in the media is what is happening. But we do believe that this platform is creating that conducive atmosphere for the voice of civility to affect and change our society. Thank you once again for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Well done.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. And that is something that we are endeavoring to do. There are talks and conversations happening in the background all around the world. This is something that we must do. It is not something that we put to the side. So thank you, Dr. Juma, for chiming in. Blessings to you. And definitely, we look forward to connecting with you again, my friend.
Thank you, sir. All the best.
All right, all right. Next up, folks, we have the one and the only Psalm Ayube is coming in to our feed. And I'm telling you, this young man is dynamic. We appreciate him for coming on today and being part. If you know him, his music, his work, you know he has a heart of gold. He has a pure heart that truly wants to help the entire globe. So we look forward to bringing Psalm in right now. Ambassador Psalm, how are you, my friend? I think you're on mute. Can you hear us?
Take off the mute.
Okay. Let's hold on just 1 second. Let's make sure that he is good to go. Mic unmuted. All right. Can you hear us now, Psalm?
No.
We're gonna have you come. We're gonna have you come out and come back in. We just want to make sure that your volume is in. So we're gonna have you come out and come back in. All right. We're gonna wait on Psalm. But as we do that, folks, what I want you to understand is that we are here with solutions. This is not just a dialogue, not just a talk. We are here to bring true solutions that are going to change the lives of our youth. We want to demonstrate in real time what civility looks like, what civility in action looks like. We're not talking textbook, folks. We're talking life transformation. That's what we're looking for, something that is going to help and affect our youth on a grand scale. Talk to us, Sir Clyde Rivers.
You know, what we have to do now, as I look, everyone's mastered the problem, saying what it is. But when you get behind the doors, because every problem comes to an head, and there will be small groups of people in a room making a decision for everyone. That's the room we need to be in.
Yes.
Psalm, can you hear us?
Psalm, you can hear us, but for some reason we're not hearing you. I want you to log completely out and log back in. Okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely. As you were saying, Dr. Rivers.
So what I'm looking to do, the reason we've been building a civility network is when we go meet with various law enforcement, we're going to come in with intelligent solutions, because if they had all the answers, they wouldn't need us. So people, what we're doing, ours is civility in action. So we can't sit by and watch injustice for anyone in the world.
That's right.
This is why 7.8 billion people, we are the civility office for them. So we have to engage all injustice, and we have to be the actual legislators of justice for 7.8 billion people. So this is why we will never stand idle at any injustice. And we will go right to the forefront and say, excuse me, our voice needs to be heard in this. So people, you will understand what we're doing, and we're not backing away. We're going all day, every day to make the world better for others.
And speaking from the top, that's what we're here to do. Bring viable solutions. Ambassador Sam, how are you today?
Yes. I'm good. I'm good.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much.
To be on the show.
Yes, indeed.
You're welcome, sir.
So Sam, we want to dive right in. I know the time, is very valuable. How do you feel that the youth are doing today? Do they have a voice? And if not, how do we help them create that voice?
First and foremost, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Rivers and Professor Joseph for having me on this Civility 360. It's a big honor for me to be here speaking with all the youths all over the world. I'm so excited. First and foremost, I would say one of the major things that is expected for this dispensation is what Civility 360 is doing right now. Now, I believe that we, all over the world, we need to create a network. I mean, a network that will inspire the whole youth, not just restricted to one part of the continent, but a platform like this that will help the youth to speak their mind to world leaders. And this is the voice that you have given to me to speak to people all over the world. I'm so excited for this. And one of the other things I think we need to do as a youth is to speak out. We need to speak out, speaking our mind online, through social media, and offline at local meetings and gatherings like this. Now, this summit is so important for this dispensation and the third world country.
Yes.
So I believe that this is all we need, and I'm so excited for this platform that will help us to assert ourselves and our interest to the nations, that people can actually listen to our voice. They can at least listen and hear what we have to offer to make our world a better place for all.
I love it. Sir Clyde Rivers.
Sam, you are one of the greatest music artists of this day and hour, and I so appreciate your cause for Africa. For you, we are working with Psalm to reach all the youth of Africa. So Psalm is actually one of the men that Dr. Burnett and I are working with Civility 360. We have to create platforms for young men like this to be on. He's a rock star. He will influence a generation. Now, people, he may not look like us, but we have to create a stage and give him a voice of influence. And Dr. Burnett, what I want to say is this. Titles mean everything. When you, titles are everything. So when a young man like this has the actual Song of the Year for Civility, around the world, that gives him a platform to go speak on civility anywhere in the world. So we have to educate our young people on what titles they have, because titles are keys. Okay, watch this here, Dr. V. If I became the actual head, if I became a president today, all power in my title changed.
Yes.
So we so we have to make sure that we're giving the young people the adequate titles that they deserve for their generation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And that is a part of the voice that we are talking about. We need to help our youth to have the voice to make change. Change is inevitable, but the right platform gives the opportunity for the voice to be heard. And this is why one of the things that we really truly appreciate, Ambassador Sam, is the music and how you transform the world with your music. We are honored to have you and to have your song to be the World Civility Song of the Year. This is truly a great honor and a great platform for you to use to maximize your sphere of influence, if you would, to our youth. Talk to me, Sam. How do you feel diversity of life is shaping our youth today?
Yeah, diversity does. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to talk about life is a blind lottery. You cannot choose the circumstances of your birth. You cannot choose the circumstances of your gender. You cannot choose the circumstances of your ethnicity, your parents, wealth, or your disability. Yet, technology has the potential to even the playing field. Now, technology can transform the way youth learn, connect, and discover opportunities for their well-being and development. So in a world of growing inequalities and uncertainty, technology can be a source of empowerment, enabling youth to become the author of their future and to rise above the cycle of disadvantages around the globe. So I would love the youth to use the technology that we have in our dispensation. 100 years ago, we don't have technology as vibrant as we have it now.
Wow.
Now, the best way we can use this technology to speak, to be the voice for this generation, is to join and create a youth organization, local organization, are great places to expand our knowledge and become an active member of our society. Being part of World Civility, being an ambassador for World Civility with the song, with the song of the year, it's encouraging. And I'm going to use this voice to encourage every youth out there to join and campaign and speak the mind of the youth to world leaders. And I'm so excited that Dr. Clyde Rivers and Professor Joseph has given us the voice to reach out to the world with our arts, with everything that we have.
Wow.
This is amazing. This is amazing. I am super excited about what is to come for our future. You know, many people have been concerned about being quarantined, but in the time of quarantine, there have been many leaps and bounds that have been accomplished. Many things have been created for when we walk into this new era, and we're not waiting for them to give us a release. We've created our own release. We've created our own platforms to show people that there is civility around the globe. There is not one industry on the planet that does not need civility. Today, we are concentrating on civility in our youth. We want you to see people who are actually taking civility and putting it into action, and they're doing it for the purpose of showing you that it is possible. We are waiting for you to rise up. We are giving you our voice and our platform for you to rise up. It is your time. This is the new era for our youth to do what they were created to do. And we're so grateful for it. I want to ask this question to you, Sam. I want you to give us two solutions, two solutions that you believe can help our youth in this new age and as we move forward in this new era.
Yeah, first and foremost, I would love to say that we need to give other young people a role. We need to give other young youths in Africa, youths in Asia, youths in America, youths in Australia, and youths in Europe. We need to give them a major role. Now, one of the best ways you can make a difference is to inspire others to join you.
Wow.
Now, I cannot do it alone. We all need to join hands together and make a difference. Now, not only myself teaching other youth about important issues, but we are to encourage them to teach others too. One tree cannot make a forest. We all need to join our voice together and take up this challenge and make our voice to be heard. So first and foremost, we're giving other young people a role to speak and a role for their voice to be heard. And the second one is, I would love to say this, that youths need to learn how to speak out. This is a season that we need to speak out, speaking your mind, speaking my mind online. Now we have through social media in our generation. I'm so excited to be part of this generation that I can actually reach the world through social media and or offline. Now, at local meetings and gatherings, we should help ourselves and our interests. Also, we need to know we might somehow be a voice that will change our continent.
Wow.
So my voice and your voice that is listening to me right now, together our voice will change the world. And we need to think before posting. Social media has a long memory and things can never truly be deleted. Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
We believe we can make the world a
Will be a
better place.
better place if we believe we can make this world be a better place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is just
So
a
I think we need to join.
snippet of Psalm's #1 song of civility of the year, folks. If you haven't heard it, I challenge you to type his name into YouTube and go listen to that song. It will move your heart to action because we truly do believe the world can be a better place. Absolutely, absolutely. I am grateful and thankful, Sam. There are so many things that are happening right now in our world, and we must become the solution to help our world move forward. There has to be forward motion, forward action to help our world get to where it needs to be. There are a lot of things that aren't right about our world, but the one thing that we do know is love covers a multitude of things. And if we would simply exude love from our hearts, and we would move forward with passion, with tenacity, with engagement, with a real ripe heart, we can make a difference. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being who you are and how you show up on a global scale. Sir Clyde Rivers.
Thank you, Sam. You're one of the greatest. You're one of the greatest.
I'm so excited.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All we need is one love, one love, one love.
The love that comes from above,
above, above. God has made us as one, as one, as one. There'll be no more pain, no more worries. Let we stay together. Hey, I believe
that we can make the
we
world
can make this world be a better place.
Yes, yes.
If we believe, we can make this world be a better place.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Ambassador Sam. We really do appreciate you. Hang on if you can, just in case we're going to answer any questions towards the end. We're going to bring in one more speaker, folks. And definitely, we have left someone who is bringing in the ballast. You know, many people often say, why do I have to be last? But you know what? The last shall be first. So thank you so much, Sam. We're about to bring in Dr. Ira Roach III. Ira Roach III is hailing all the way from Delaware, folks. And I hope that you are ready because it's about to go down. Let me go ahead and add Dr. Roach in now. Dr. Ira, how we doing today, my friend?
I'm well, sir, and yourself?
Phenomenal, phenomenal, better than I deserve. Yes, indeed. How are things in Delaware?
They're hot. I was just thinking, like, wow, Dr. Rivers told me he was gonna bring me among great people, but I'm like, whoa, why do you have to have me last? I feel like I'm on the track and field, the final event, and I'm in the far lane.
We're passing the baton, though. We're passing the baton. You ready?
Right, I'm ready.
Absolutely.
This guy here is to me, he's a master of building blueprints of success with people. Most people build institutions. This man builds people. And this is why he is so needed in the world today. Dr. Roach, we're not happy to have you here. We're honored to have you here.
I'm honored to be here, finally to meet Professor Joseph, and of course, Dr. Rivers. I honor you. Thank you so much for having me on this platform.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we want to dive right on in,
Yes.
Master Roach. Let's do it. So talk to me. Do you feel that the youth have a voice today? And if not, what can we do to help build it?
There's a little saying I came up with. It's be willing to admit it's time to quit. I do believe they have a voice, but I think people who are here in positions now, when you know it's time to pass the baton, just pass it. These great people now. They are the now. And if we're not too selfish, we can do that. So yes, I do they have a voice, but we can do a little bit better with that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, you know, I'm reminded of great leaders who knew when it was time to pass the baton.
Yes.
Many people don't want to give over control or command early, but a great leader understands timing. And I'm grateful and thankful that you brought that up because timing is everything. If you stay on too long, you may end up hurting a generation. You know, I heard one of the great speakers say today, you can't be an influencer and an impactor in 2 generations. So be great where you are. And I love that because people often think if you pass on power too early or early, then something was wrong. No, great leaders understand how to pass the baton. Great leaders understand what delegation truly is. And if you ever really want to see a leader, you don't look at what they have done. You look at whom they have built and what those people have become. Dr. Roach, you already on it, my friend. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Talk to us, sir. Talk to us. Ira, I have a question. You have a gift that can see into people and you help thrust people forward. Can you kind of explain? I know that's not one of the questions that we have for you, but the people around you get better. What kind of gifting looks at that and sees the gold where others see dirt? You see gold.
Well, Dr. Rivers, I appreciate you for boosting me up, but all glory goes to God. When I was a young boy, I knew that people that were young kids that were labeled as problem children, I always had a liking to them because I knew it was not who they were, but I always saw something good inside of them. And so from a young age, I learned that I had the gift of discerning. So it's nothing of my own, but I asked God to show me the heart of people. If I go by their minds, I would be crazy. But if you look at the heart sometimes, that tells the real story. So I told God to let me be a discerner of the intent of man's heart. So that's what helped me, to build people.
Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. Building people. Dr. Roach, I've got to say it like this. I've been saying for over 5 years that people and relationships are the new currency.
Yes, sir.
Truth be told, it's not a new currency. It's been the currency from the beginning of time. It just happens to be new to some people.
Right.
Now, when I meet someone who recognizes the power and the authority of building people, my spirit leaps. So I am super excited to hear from you today, because that is what makes the world go round. Let me tell you, Dr. Rivers, Sir Clyde Rivers always says 7.8 billion people on the planet, and they all have value. People is what makes the world go round. It doesn't matter what your organization is. It doesn't matter what your business is. If you don't have people working for you, then you won't be in business too long. So I'm grateful and thankful to hear and see how you already have a heart for the mind and the people currency of the world. This is phenomenal. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, sir. So let me ask you this question. How are the diversities of life shaping our youth today?
Well, Dr. Joseph, you have a model right here. I saw people from Africa. I saw people from Canada. I saw people from the US. And what it is, we're all unique. And yes, God uses Dr. Rivers and yourself to bring us together. But can you imagine how diverse young people see this? One thing I've noticed is that when a crisis comes, it calls on creativity and innovation, which causes resources. So can you imagine what this model is saying to a lot of younger people who are now not just coming into America, but they're going to other countries to clap with other young people to help with the developing goals. And they're going to make a great world. I promise you, diversity is a good thing. Young people catch on a lot quicker than some of us, older people.
Come on now.
Right here. Look at this platform right here. In one platform, in like an hour, we have covered the whole world has seen us with our uniqueness and our abilities and our gifts and our talents. And that's what diversity is doing. If we teach these young people coming out of school what the power of diversity is.
Wow. What do you think? What do you think about this, Dr. Roach? What do you think? I have a belief that people that look for perfection never feel good about themselves. And I've seen identity crisis because people don't understand their life is a process and not perfection. How have you've helped a lot of people move through that process? What is your key in showing people that they don't have to be perfect?
I believe it's Les Brown that has a quote, one of my favorite. He says, "Don't let the opinions of others become your reality." I lived it. For years, I was in poverty in my thinking. For years, I was depressed. For years, I felt like hopeless because I listened to the words of other people. So what I teach people is everybody has an opinion that doesn't have to mean who you are. Just because your mother had kids when she wasn't married, just because your family was on drugs, just because your family was jailbirds, you don't have to live that reality. And that's how I've taught people to not live another person's opinion. It doesn't have to be your reality. You have the power of your own story. And that's basically what I've told people.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Dr. Roach, as I think about that right there, this really kind of dives right into my next question. Do you feel dialogue with the older generation is effective and helpful for our youth today?
There's a scripture in the Bible, there's a story in the Bible that talks about there were some girls singing one day, and they said, Saul kills his thousands and David kills his 10,000s. And Saul became jealous after that moment. Mm-hmm. So what I'm about to say is you can't have a Saul syndrome and help these young people. Like Dr. said, we have to be the shoulders that they jump on for the next platform. But if you have a Saul syndrome, you're not going to want to share anything with them. You're not going to want to share those life lessons. You're not going to want to share those things that you've been through and overcome. So yes, it's important that they talk to the older generation, but please, older generation, don't have a Saul syndrome.
Dr. B, he is saying something right there. Man, I want to tell you, Ambassador Roach, you just said something. Most of my life, there's been Sauls.
Wow.
Sauls. I had to fight to do anything we got. There was always 1,000 opinions of what we wouldn't do.
Wow.
And sometimes when God gives you that actual unique assignment, he may not tell everyone about your assignment. So mentors, make sure you, Dr. V and Dr. S, I have a new way of mentorship. Let me tell you what it is. I keep moving and people follow.
That's it.
That was good.
That's it. At the end of the day, people, listen, when you talk mentorship, what does it mean? Yeah. It's men touring your ship. It's men.
Wait, Doc. Back that up, Dr. V. I need to hear that again.
When you talk mentorship, what that actually means is men touring your ship. It's people seeing where you are and following you as you go. Wow. If you stick and you get stagnant, when you get stagnant, you get stale. When you get stale, you begin to stink. Nobody wants to follow somebody who is stuck at a step. So when you want to talk mentorship, you want people who are moving, people who are doing. The reason that you want to have a mentor is because they are where you desire to be. They've already been there and they're continuing on, and they can tell you, hey, wait a minute, as you get to 25 feet, there's going to be a pothole on your left. Make sure that you avoid that pothole. And oh, by the way, when this happens, you don't have to do this. You can go up here and do that. That's what mentoring is. Youth, I need you to understand, don't follow what is shiny. Shiny is not what it's about. You want to follow people who have evidence and results. You want to see people who can actually talk the talk and walk the walk. Don't go after what you think you might need. Make sure that you follow those who are doing it indeed.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes, sir.
That's the key.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Ira, add on. What's your doc? Talk to us, Dr. Roach.
Well, I was waiting for the question about the two solutions.
And I'm coming to it. I'm ready. Give it to us right now. Let's do it.
The other week, I talked to a young man. I mentioned a young man in prison. And he is been in some prison. He's facing some things now. And we're just trying to work through it. But the basis of this is he went back to when he was 17 and he was caught with some paraphernalia. And it ruined his chances of going to a college, full scholarship with football. And I hear him. And so I was reading the scripture the other week, and it was in Ezekiel 37, 1-14, where the Lord took Ezekiel out in a vision through the valley of dry bones. He asked him, Ezekiel, can these bones live? And of course, Ezekiel answered him, God only you know. My point is, number one, he explained to him what these dry bones represented. And it was Israel, just full of hopes. They were gone. Their dreams were gone. They didn't think they were going to get out of where they were. And the first thing he told them to do was speak to those bones. So the first solution is we got to teach these young people how to live beyond labels. We got to teach them how to live beyond labels. There's been a lot of labels put on people. Like Dr. Rivers was saying, it's not just the U.S. There's tribalism. There's people who even spiritually sometimes there's bullying about kids. And so we have to teach them how to live beyond those labels. You don't have to be where you come from. You don't have to do that. So the second one is, he said, speak to the wind so you can breathe into these bones so they can live. And so the next thing is, we're just talking about it, they have to learn how to connect with a mentor. Mentorship is so important for young people. And we've already had that conversation, and you've already broke it up, Dr. Joseph. But mentoring is so important to young people. If we look at statistics, this is not just a U.S. The number 2 cause of death in the U.S. is suicide. The number 2 cause of death globally is suicide. And so what do we need? We need some mentors to say, hey, Robert, I didn't hear from you this week. We can get on WhatsApp. We can call to Nigeria and say, hey, I didn't hear from you this week. It's going to be okay. You can do this. And so that's my 2 solutions. 1, we got to teach them how to live beyond labels. And 2, we have to make sure they connect with master mentors. I had to add that, Dr. Rivers. Master mentors, not just regular mentors.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Living beyond the label, folks. It doesn't matter what everybody has put upon you. You've got to know, as you've heard the theme, you got to go deep inside. You got to know who you are. Right. Then you got to go deep inside. Then you've got to live beyond labels, folks. This is so important. Youth, I hope that you all are picking up what we putting down today on the State of Civility Youth Summit. Why? Because this is all about and all for you. Yes. We have done what we were supposed to do. Now we are passing the baton and saying, let's go. I want you to run that 4th leg of the race. Take us home. Yeah. The key is that the race will never end. We will perpetually keep moving and passing the baton back to generation so that people can recognize life is meant to be lived and we must live it to the fullest. And the way that we do that is by empowering our youth. Yes. Man, this is extremely, extremely good. Man. Dr. Roach, man, I don't care what nobody say. You may have been at the end, but you the anchor man. You bringing it home. You understand what I'm saying?
You saying bolt. You saying lightning bolt.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me see if I can do this. I know we had a few people that did have to actually go. I'm going to bring everyone on. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who have come in, who have poured out solutions that are bringing effective change to our youth. We are here for our youth. We know that there's a lot going on. We know the disparities that are going on, but we are the change that we seek. And we're going to pass the baton. We're going to do it in every city, every nation, every region, every continent. Whether we do it by social media or any medium, we will fly out to you. When you get ready, we will be there. Why? Because that's how serious we are about our youth. We are bringing civility in action everywhere. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Everywhere. That's what we desire to do. So I salute each and every one of you who are able to hang on the line. I know that our brothers who are in Africa, it is extremely, extremely late or early morning for them right now. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being an agent of change. Thank you for being a voice of change. Thank you for having the courage. Thank you for creating the things that you have. Thank you for utilizing your voice and your platform to help our youth, because without you, there can be no them. So thank you for passing the baton. Thank you for being on. Thank you for sending your love, your wisdom, your excellence, your energy, your experience, your effort. Everything that you do matters. Why? Because you have a voice. And because of your voice, the youth behind us will be able to pick up a mantle and be able to move forward and do something that is worth the salt and the change that the earth needs today. So I want to say thank you, because without you, we could not do this summit. Are you hearing what I'm saying today?
Thank you. Thank you. And what I want to tell you all is get ready your phone may ring any day to go and do something great around the world.
You better believe it.
Here it is. Stay ready. Stay ready. Psalm, thank you so much. There's no word, Psalm. Elizabeth, you are one of the great voices of this generation that's coming, and we're so honored to have you in. Thank you so much. And A game. I've never seen you bring the B game, so I appreciate your A game. And Dr. Roach, man, I didn't know that, but you had a gas tank like that. You put high octane fuel. You were all gas, no brakes. I love it, man. Dr. V, you're a true statesman. You're a true general, and I'm grateful to work with you. And people, we got work to do.
Absolutely. I want to do one order of business while we still have everyone on. I know we're coming to the end of this. Sir Clyde Rivers, I want to go ahead and announce Psalm. Can we do that right here?
Yes.
All right. So Psalm Ayube, Ambassador Psalm Ayube, who literally has the World Civility Song of the Year. We have partnered with Psalm to bring to the world a youth narrative like never before. He is going to become now the national statesman for youth. The national statesman for youth. So we salute you, Psalm. We thank you for this effort and what we are going to accomplish. You are going to hear much, much more from this entire group as we continue to forge the path forward. Again, if you've heard something from this group that you love, that you appreciate, you can contact us at civility360@gmail.com, and we will make sure that we disseminate the information to them. We are coming to the ends of the world. Notice what I said, to the ends, the edges of the world, because youth are everywhere and we want to impact them. So we're grateful. We're thankful again for each and every one of you who have been on the State of Civility Youth Summit that happened today. This is groundbreaking, history making, and we are changing the world together. So I want to say thank you. Thank you again. Be sure to be on the lookout, if you would, for the international article that will be released in a few days on this summit and the solutions that we are brought forth. Again, if you need a speaker, if you need a panelist, if you need someone who can transform the youth of today, reach out, civility360@gmail.com, and we will be sure to get you in touch with each and every one of these phenomenal world leaders. Thank you again. Blessings to you all. Thank you for your time, and let's change the world together. I do see Dr. Juma did show back up. Dr. Juma, we love you. We appreciate you. There is work to be done, and we will get it done. Blessings, peace, and productivity to you all. As we close out the State of Civility Youth Summit, remember, every life is valuable, and the youth is our future. So let's invest in them. Let's trust and believe in them. Let's come alongside of them so that we can be effective in our change moving forward. Thank you all. Blessings and peace to everyone.